She got back basically 20 minutes ago. So, yeah, I mean,
It's basically
There's two over here. South Dakota School Line Student Association scheduled to order. Roll call for both proxies. Clara.
Present.
Butcher.
Present.
Kent. Here. Foster. Here. Hernandez. Here. Fink.
Here.
Hill.
Here.
Keel.
Here.
Lanner.
Here.
Lewis.
Here.
Sorry. Price has that.
Yeah, here.
Masters. Here. Moriarty.
Here.
Richards. Here. Shaw. Here. Sanchez. Here. Seaman.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Stanton.
Here.
Darcy Haggerty. Marchman. Severson.
Here.
Darcy Coon.
Here.
Wright. Mulder.
Here.
Did everyone get a chance to read the agenda? We just had a couple, we just put another thing on there. Flag Capitals here to present to us today. We're having the first reading of the resolution today. So just those two things have the agenda about that. So any questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the agenda, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. It's approved. Next, did everyone get a chance to look at last week's minutes? They were sent out Monday night, I believe. Any significant edits, changes? Just a couple small spelling mistakes. Any other changes that anyone wants to bring up? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Meeting minutes approved. Next, we're moving on to vote for guests. First, we have our Vice President of Finance, Dr. Spindle.
Thank you, everybody, for letting me come today. I just want to talk a little bit about our 5% increase in tuition and fees for FY26. I got a little presentation. I welcome any questions anytime. I'm the Vice President of Finance Administration, been there since January 2020, so 5 years. We have not had an increase in the whole time I've been here. This is the first one. And so we tried not to have them. but we're getting to a point now where we need to. Next slide. As you know, this is a very special institution, and we want you to have the highest quality faculty, equipment, support, the best you can to compete with the other elite STEM universities. So in order to do that, it costs money. And the real problem we have is on the next slide, our costs have gone up. Tuition rates have been flat, but our costs are going off the charts. Specialized program, you know, and you all know this, you're involved in these kind of programs. We've got lots of equipment. I have a whole list of equipment I can show you of things that we need to improve, get new equipment, and so forth to make sure that we maintain the kind of program that you all expect. We also have the lowest faculty to student ratio of any school in the system, and it's only 14 to 1, and that's one of the things we're proud of, that you are able to, for the most part, be in a classroom with your faculty member, and there's not this huge room. We also, lab consumables have gone way up. I have with me Aaron Grimm. He's our budget director, but before that, he was in charge of the lab consumables, so he can tell you about the cost there. We also have costs going up in every area. Our insurance costs have gone up 400%. Our software support costs are over 100%. Utilities are way up. So costs are up. Now we have tried everything we can think of to do that without increasing the tuition, but it's got to a point where we don't have a whole lot of choice unless we have more students. So we're always interested in getting more students, but to get more students, you got to have a program that they want. And this is an elite school, so you've got to stay up with the other elite schools. That costs money. So I want to just show you how we compare to our out-of-state competitors. Next slide. This is not really easy to see, but we are of these 10 or 12 universities, we are by far, not by far, but we are the cheapest of all those universities. And this is as of FY25. So our tuition, this is last year, $260 plus the engineering fee plus the gap, 49 is the gap, for $394, as you are well aware. But you can see that one of our main competitors, Colorado School of Mines, is way more expensive than we are. In fact, they are the most expensive school in Colorado of the public schools. And then, I don't know if you know much about these other, Michigan Tech, Missouri S&T, are big competitors of ours. And then you see a lot of the other schools, but we're the cheapest. Now the next slide, this is again hard to see, but it shows you what the difference is between what you paid last year and what you'll pay next year. So the 5% increase, you'll end up paying, instead of, can anybody read that top, $394? It goes from $394 to $413. So that's the increase. There's a slight increase. The 5% increase in our special disciplinary fees is what the engineering fee is, and then GAF goes up $1. The final slide will benefit future students. Unfortunately, you already have whatever scholarships you have. Next slide. But our goal is to ramp up our scholarships. We're trying to raise $50 million in scholarships. We have $30 million so far. Our goal is to get $50 million. We expect to get that here in the next year or two. And so for future students coming in, hopefully we'll have a better scholarship level. Any questions?
Vice President Lee.
So for this cost over here, is that computed for like an in-state student undergraduate?
Yes, that's in-state student undergraduate.
It is proportional for out-of-state students, but it's within a few dollars.
Senator Austin.
Is other engineering universities, like say South Dakota State, are they listed as competitors to us for in-state students, or do we not really gauge competition between South Dakota State and South Dakota?
Well, the only school that really has a program anywhere similar to us is SDSU, with the engineering program. don't have the variety and the depth that we do. So we generally look at, what are the schools out there that look like us? And there aren't a whole lot that look like us because we're so small. You know, we have, 2,500 students. Our competitors, for the most part, have 6,000 to 7,000 students. So one of our challenges is, because we're so small, every little change that we make is, so for example, if we lose 200 students, we're in big trouble. If we gain 200 students, we're in great shape. I mean, that's how we're on the margins. But it's what makes this school unique and what makes it, I think in your mind, what's so good. You know, it's a small school, you're all here probably because, not only the quality of the program, but because it is a small school. You get to know everybody in your class probably, and that's one of the big advantages. So for example, even the Colorado School of Mines, which is, we call that our aspirational peer, there's 6,500, 7,000 students. And our school, is much smaller. But I don't think there's any, it's not even listed here, but the only school that's close to us in size is New Mexico Tech. New Mexico Tech is, I think, a little bit smaller than we are, and maybe Montana Tech is also about the same size. But they're the only ones that are really, we have lots of peers in different areas that we look at. This group of peers is the one that have you all heard of NCHIMS? And I can come talk about that at another meeting going to. NCHIMS is a consultant group that the board hired to look at the financial viability of all 6 schools. And for us, they picked these, they looked at these particular universities for us to use as peers. Our aspirational peers are, I think, Michigan Tech. Well, I mean, our normal peers are Michigan Tech, Missouri, SFT, and you know what the other ones are?
Colorado School of Mines.
Colorado School of Mines. And that's, there's not very many, actually. And like I said, there are very few that actually look like us. We have more research than the typical small university like us, but size-wise, we're very small.
So as this was approved at last week's Board of Regents meeting, when does this take effect? Will it be this coming academic year?
Yes. And there will also be the president's going to send out a message on this too, so that everybody will.
Senator Rostad?
What does the university have any sort of strategic plan on what the ad fund will go towards, or a split amongst every department or facilities, or?
Yes. I would love to have the president come talk to you. He's got lots of ideas. And, he came from University of North Dakota and set up some things there that are very unique. He wants to do some of those things here. And I think you all would love to hear some of his ideas. You've got a great guy. I'm retiring in June, Jacob is. But I'm sorry I'm not going to be working with him because he is top notch. He's an engineer, and he ran an engineering program really about the same size number of students as us, even though we're part of a bigger school. But he's got some really good ideas, and I'm not prepared to talk about him here today, but he would love to come talk.
I guess the question I had,
Yes.
and we kind of touched on this before, so you said that tuition fees have increased this year. When was the last time tuition fees did increase?
That's a great question. You know, Aaron?
It was the academic year 2018-2019. Last time tuition increased. And it was roughly 3 to 4%.
So that's both tuition and fees, or just tuition?
I believe it, I know for sure it was tuition. I would have to look into fees for sure. But
So are you a 2018 grad, Aaron?
Yes, I graduated from
From here.
2018. Yes, and so it was the year after I graduated was the year of tuition. And I know for sure it was tuition. Usually when tuition goes up, there's at least what we call inflationary increase on fees, so at a minimum, there's usually that. I believe that's actually what we did for tuition. It was a pretty marginal.
Do you know if this is supposed to be like, they increased it in hopes of not having to increase it for a couple more years down the line, or are they going to keep increasing?
we actually want to increase it 3% for the next 3 years afterwards, 3% a year. And the reason is, we need about 14.7%. We have to get you're not seeing that now because you can only get a 1 year increase in the food each year. So in other words, we can't go for the next 4 years. We actually like to do it, but we're going to do that. So, because things change. Our goal is to give President Tandy what he needs to get this school up in terms of equipment, faculty, and so forth, to keep this school up at the top where it is right now. It's getting tougher because the costs are off the chart for us, like I told you. But yes, the idea is three more years of 3% each, which actually won't be much different than inflation. It was 2.5 this year. Actually, 2.5 of this is inflation. The other 2.5, we're the only school that is all the other 5 schools have gone up 2.5%. We went up 5% because they recognize that we're special. Not that you want a special increase, but there's special things that this school does. The other 5 do. The other 5 are more comprehensive, as you know. And this school, the tough part, and I've been in this business a long time. A STEM university, well, we can back up. A comprehensive university has a lot of programs that don't cost a lot, like English. You have to pay for the professors, but there's not a lot of equipment you have to pay for. So, but the tuition's the same. So the tuition that comes in for the English, my counterpart in a comprehensive school that can help pay for the science courses. We don't have that. Almost all of our programs are expensive. With every one. They're somewhat unique. And the way they teach them here is somewhat unique. And we want the absolute top equipment. I always point to here, what's the piece that we're looking for now that it's got goals?
In the Department of Chemistry, there's a spectrometer called the NMR. It's used in organic research, but it's also a critical piece of equipment to the accreditation of the degree program. So in order to offer the degree, I have to have that piece of equipment, and it has to be functional. That's one of our main pieces.
It's functional, but we need a new one.
And the equipment itself is usually not all that expensive. It's still about $300,000, but in order to install it, it's another $500,000, and then in order to maintain it, it's an annual operation of about $50,000. And I just have to have it to offer the degree. Period. I don't even have to use it technically. I think there's some coursework, but we do have to have it. We use it, of course, and that's the whole point of having it. But it's one of those pieces that we have to have in order to offer.
Well, and we don't want to have, equipment that's on its last legs. When you come to school here, you want the best equipment. We think we have really good professors, but they get frustrated too if they don't have the best equipment. So that's part of what we're trying to do.
Vice President Lee. Vice President Lee.
Yeah, Aaron, do you have numbers for like cumulative inflation from since we last increased tuition?
I don't have them, but I can certainly run them.
Okay.
I can certainly get them. I'll send them to Bill and have him send forward.
Awesome. Any other questions, comments, concerns for Dr. Spindle? Yeah. Seeing none? Oh, Senator Bosser.
So final thoughts here. I guess, are there ways that the administration is trying to plan to mitigate the looks of this to prospective students, right? Like scholarship mitigation, stuff like that?
Yes, that's absolutely what we're trying to do
Yeah.
you already had your scholarship. Now for the future student, we hope to have more money.
Right.
I mean, that's probably our biggest challenge is growing our scholarship base. And that's the goal of, right now, like I said, we have a campaign, we've got 30 million, we want 50. Absolutely.
Any final comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, thank you for coming in.
Thank you very much.
All right, next on the agenda, we have Phi Kappa Tau.
Hello guys, my name is Deep Perot. I am the president of Phi Kappa Tau. You might also know me as the regent of Theta Tau. And a lot of you may be asking, why is Theta Tau here to present about a new fraternity? Well, per the Title IX Act in 1972, they require all professional establishments to be like non-discriminate. So with that comes you can't be discriminated against male or female. And as a professional engineering fraternity, Theta Tau is required to be non-discriminate from female and male. So we have to be a co-ed fraternity per our nationals organization. And in spite of that, to keep our sort of brotherhood and our values and what we provide to campus, we have left them and we desire Phi Kappa Tau as our new organization. Next slide.
So what is Phi Kappa Tau? This is just sort of to give you guys an overview on what the organization stands for, nationally speaking. So our motto is developing men of character into men of distinction. We were formed March 17th, 1906 in Oxford, Ohio. And sort of our mission, that isn't our mission statement, but our other mission, is to champion a lifelong commitment to brotherhood with learning and ethical leadership and exemplary character. And we plan to accomplish this practically on campus through our involvement on the campus that we live at, our community involvement, exemplary leadership as individuals, and the philanthropy that our organization does. If you go to the next slide. So why this organization specifically? First and foremost is campus involvement, and what I really want to highlight there, because you guys can read the slide, but what I really want to highlight there is that we want to continue what Theta Tau was already doing. Theta Tau is very involved in campus through things like Rocker Days community, through things like Greek Council, and everything that entails from Greek picnic, rush, pledging process, everything that is intertwined with the Greek community. That's what Theta Tau was already doing. That's what Theta Tau was doing since 1932, and that's what Theta Tau was doing since 1924 as Phi Alpha Lambda before we were Theta Tau. And so this is not the death of an organization and the birth of a new one. This is just a new coat of paint for the same gentlemen that have been here since 1924. And that's something that I do want to emphasize. We also have more than 30 students, more than 40 students now, that want to be part of this organization on campus. So there's no scarcity of membership, and this would be a good choice for a multitude of people. Our community involvement is with the Department of Transportation, Campus Kids organization on campus that works with Big Brothers Big Sisters of South Dakota. Of the Black Hills, Habitat for Humanity and Feeding South Dakota. Those are the organizations that we currently partner with and that we have partnered with over the past 2 semesters. Leadership, we provide a multitude of leadership roles for members of the fraternity to grow in leadership settings. We offer roles like president and vice president. We offer philanthropic and scholarship chairs. We offer risk management chairs, treasury chairs, and mental health awareness and coordination chairs. So a lot of room for leadership and a lot of opportunities for young men to grow as they are part of this organization. And then finally, I want to talk about our philanthropy. Phi Kappa Tau as a national organization has raised more than $2 million for an organization called Serious Fund. What Serious Fund does is it provides opportunities that are summer camp-esque in their nature for terminally ill patients for youth. So that is a organization that our founders have a huge heart for, that they put a lot of money into. And this is something that we also send members to, not our chapter yet specifically, but that the national organization sends members to every year in order to help aid in the summer camp process.
Alright, so what would Phi Kappa Tau accomplish on campus? And like Matthew said, we want this to be a continuation of the campus involvement and activities that Theta Tau has been doing previously. So that includes the Car Bash fundraiser, the involvement with the Rocker Days committee, the Greek Council related events, including Greek picnic and Greek retreat, things that help the freshmen who just come here kind of realize it's more than just a college. We are more than just your degree. There's a lot of social events where you can find like-minded people and people who see things differently, and it's a big old mixing pot, and we think that's great. And with that, we also have a lot of focus for Phi Kappa Tau on suicide prevention, mental awareness. So that includes the QPR, or mandatory QPR training, and as well as just general principles that you can see on the slide. Next slide, please. So obviously this would impact the current members and whoever joins in the future for Phi Kappa Tau the most, as well as the rest of the Greek community, but it would also continue to positively impact the campus. And that's campus life, just being involved with those different social events that kind of pull pull kids out of their dorms and brings them together.
So, our executive board members, we kind of already have our ducks in a row being Theta Tau already. I don't know why the slide is messed up. But, so I'm the president, Dean Pro, that's me. And then we have our vice president, Henry Stewart. We have our vice president of alumni relations as Cooper Emery. Our secretary is Peter Hansen. Treasury, Jack Myers. Our membership orientation officer is Zach Heldy. And then our recruitment chairman is Matthew Allen. Our vice president of health and safety is Henry Stewart. Our scholarship chairman is also Matthew Allen. Our chaplain is Zach Heldy. Our housing manager is Wyatt Robeson. And our faculty advisor is Dr. Jonathan Gibson, who was our faculty advisor for Theta Tau. So as you can see, we already have mostly everything figured out. We're a good operating organization, and we're ready to continue on under different letters.
So just for some brief demographics, these are currently the academic year standings for all the individuals who are a part of the organization. We have everyone from freshmen all the way up to a few graduate students. We have a very strong freshman class. We just recently recruited 14 individuals, so that brings our total number up to over 40. So we have a very strong foundation to continue growing and thriving here. And then here's some more demographics, just a breakdown of our current majors in-house, with mechanical being the biggest one, followed by chemical. We got IE and Vet, and then a bunch of the other engineering majors. One of the cool things about becoming Phi Kappa Tau is that we are now no longer just restricted to engineering majors, so we can take any major across campus, which will then hopefully help boost our recruitment numbers as well. So currently, as it stands, we have 25 students who are going to be going on internship and co-ops. And then for the previous semester, we had a 100% job placement rate for recent grads.
All right, next up is finances. That includes rent for housing and dues. The collection is overseen by our national organization and alumni board. The alumni board includes some of the alumni of our local chapter, and they kind of help manage or serve as an intermediary with the funds. And then we would need no SOAP funds being requested, just fundraising is needed.
And then to kind of finish things out, why should we recognize as an organization? Obviously for the reasons that we just explained to you guys. But to sort of take the presentation hat off a little bit, to let the mask slip. This organization is something beautiful. This organization is something important, and it's important to a lot of people, and this is something that we want to continue, and we want to give as a gift to the freshmen that are coming in next year, and after that, and after that. And so we should remain an organization on campus, obviously because of the benefits and impact we're going to have to the campus presently, to the benefits and impact we're going to have for our community presently and in the future, but even more so and even more importantly, towards the brothers of the house and the people that we are pledging to be brothers with and to be family with and to do life with. So, thank you. That's everything.
Questions?
Questions?
Sorry,
So what about the alumni of this chapter? Are they going to be considered like part of the new?
Yes. Yeah, so our new organization, Phi Kappa Tau, is open to letting any alumni who were part of Theta Tau to have alumni status as Phi Kappa Tau. And we have had many meetings with our alumni board and talks with alumni who still stay close to us, and they believe that we are moving in the right direction to keep our brotherhood and our values the same.
And I'll ask my question now. So I know Theta Tau, I believe you guys were Theta Tau's nationally professional engineering fraternity, I think you said at the beginning. Is Phi Kappa Tau, are they a social fraternity nationally?
They are a social fraternity, that's correct.
Okay, I just want clarification on that.
And also, what comes with that often is a requirement to rush in the spring and fall, but we have approval from our national organization to continue only rushing in the fall as a standard for most Greek organizations on campus. So it would not deviate and it would not cause any additional headache not calling what AD Pi and Lambda do as a headache, but there would be no additional requirements for that.
Perfect. Any other questions, comments, concerns for Phi Kappa Tau? Yes, Senator Teal.
Is this transition something that's happening on other colleges, or is it unique to?
Yes, it's happening on other colleges. There were 6 total chapters who were all male who got told the same thing, and Phi Kappa Tau reached out to each of them. And one of the most notable ones was at Purdue University, where they went through quite the transition of being Theta Tau moving towards Phi Kappa Tau. And Phi Kappa Tau already had a chapter there, and they welcomed them. And Phi Kappa Tau has been extremely helpful with working with all of us in this process and being very easy to work with and logical in their decisions.
Any other questions? Senator Wright.
I'm guessing you guys are going to be using the same housing setup as Theta Tau or whatnot?
Yep. Yeah, so we're gonna use the same house, same location, 109 Kansas City Street. Right now, our alumni board owns our house, and so they're down with the program. They're down to keep rent the same. They're down to keep the same things going on, and that's what we're really, really thankful for.
Questions, concerns? Senator Boucher.
You mentioned as of right now, are those plans going to change with the alumni board owning the house, or?
No. As of right now, the alumni board will still own the house. They will still be in support of us. Really what this change is it's a change of letters, and it's opening more opportunity for us as Theta Tau National Committee has kind of left us behind since we're a little bit different. And this new organization, Phi Kappa Tau, is really opening the door for a lot more opportunity, especially including this new summer camp deal that they have going on, and more national events and regional events that they'll bring us to for training and introduction to more people and networking opportunities. And we really appreciate that.
And if I can comment on that a little bit. So yeah, with our national organization previously as Theta Tau, it wasn't really a move of, oh, we're getting dropped and we have to scramble for a new organization. It wasn't a move of, oh, we're marching out and we have to do this right away. It was premeditated and almost like a mutual breakup, if that makes sense. Theta Tau looked at us and we looked at Theta Tau, and we saw that neither of us were reflecting the values that the other one wanted to see. And so it's beneficial, not just for us to be joining Phi Kappa Tau because of the boons of Phi Kappa Tau, but it's good to be severing those bonds, because although those bonds are valuable and although those bonds have a legacy at this school, they are no longer representative of our values because of Theta Tau's new moves that they're making. So this is good for both of us in the long run, and we're leaving Theta Tau amicably. And we've received letters from them saying, we understand, thank you, goodbye. Essentially that's been the long and short of it.
Seeing no other further comments, questions, concerns, thank you for coming in. Alright, moving on. We don't have any unfinished business. There's new business though. There's the Phi Kappa Tau resolution.
This is Archer Wee resolution 25S/17, April 9th, 2025. Originated by the Constitution Committee, presented by myself. Whereas adequate interest has been expressed by students wishing to form an organization, Phi Kappa Tau, and whereas there are currently no organizations that overlap this interest, and whereas a constitution has been constructed and reviewed for said club, and therefore be it resolved by a majority of the vote of the Student Senate, signature of the Student Association President, the Constitution of Phi Kappa Tau be approved, allowing for formal recognition.
Questions, concerns? Senator Smith.
Recommend Constitution Committee to Constitution Committee, please. Up. Constitution Committee.
All right. Any other comments, questions, concerns? All right, we don't have to pass this week, so we'll see you next week. moving on. Any points of open discussion? Seeing none, or Senator Ledger?
I don't know if Corey knows anything about this, but today when I went to Einstein's, Flex was down, and they were saying that it's been off and on. I was wondering if there's any clarification on the cause of this.
So the system the Transact system that runs the mill plans and those kinds of things, it's housed at Blackwell State and something went down with the system. So there were issues yesterday during a couple mills and then today. So the last update I got at one was that they were trying to navigate that. So Diane is keeping track, like was deducting things that at this point wasn't showing on the POS system downstairs. It's navigating, it's still pulling from accounts. So hopefully it'll be fixed by tomorrow, but I haven't received an update from ITS if it's been resolved.
Senator Costa?
Is everybody able to finish children?
Just to clarify, we're not turning students away from meals?
No, they're not. Nope. And my rules here. Even if they were looking at those things and that even in the midst of the chaos today, they were, even in the C-store, they were buying drinks for students and just making sure that they were taken care of.
Any other comments, questions concerning this point of open discussion? Seeing none, any other points of discussion? Senator Leonard? Great. Senator Seidman?
I'll do a quick Student Federation POR report. Last week was the meeting on the Student Fed pipeline. They mentioned in the meeting that they grant housing and meal plan exceptions for financial reasons, which I found bizarre because I hadn't heard of that. And so I did reach out to Heather Forney for clarification, and what she said is it's up to university discretion. So if you can make a convincing enough case to the university, then they have the right to then grant it. So, additionally, they said that there will be Senate Bill 100 guidelines coming down the pipeline from the Board of Regents to the institutions. Not entirely sure what that'll all entail, but they're working on it. They also said that they listened to students and saw that housing and dining was a thing that was a huge concern for us this year. It'll likely have another bill coming down the pipeline next year, and they're willing to listen and work with students on that issue. Additionally, there was some things with some federal hazing codes that were implemented on a federal level that then had to implement on a statewide level that will be coming down the pipeline, but didn't seem to be anything of concern. And then last but not least, the Board of Regents did approve all of those increases that we were talking about. So that happened as well.
Any additional comments, questions, concerns on this topic? Seeing none, any other points of open discussion? Vice President Lee.
So thank you for listening to Dr. Swindle's presentation. I hope that was kind of informative. I know that the admissions department is putting together a calculator, they call it, for freshmen to figure out their costs coming to school. But I'm wondering if you feel like, it'd be helpful for existing students to compare what they're paying right now to what they will be paying in the fall. I'd be willing to put in some time to make a calculator based on all the information that is already publicly available in terms of costs. But if you feel like that's helpful, I could do that, or get someone to help me on that. Alternatively, we just provide like a range of what we think students would have to pay. The increase that students would see for the fall. I know Dr. Swindle gave me like an average value, but again, it's going to range depending on where you live, what meal plan you're on, and so forth. So I appreciate your thoughts on that right now.
Senator Fink.
The little chart you have with all the numbers, are we allowed to put that on somewhere so that students come showing what your lowest?
I can check in on that.
Senator Fink.
I just wondered because, so Michigan Tech's about 2 hours from my house. That's over $1,000 It's still cheaper to go here, so we can show that off.
So that's a good idea. That's really important to
So I guess to clarify, President Archer and I were considering like sending out an email from Senate, but then the more we thought about it, the more it seemed like it wasn't really our purview. I think it should actually come from staff, not from other students. However, during our meeting with President Kennedy today, we did bring up like, hey, maybe students should get a little bit of heads up before the fall. And it didn't seem like that was something that was going to happen when I was talking about it. So I'm glad that we had the opportunity to suggest that. So I think the president will be sending out information. One thing we did discuss was emphasizing how our schools differ from other DOR universities and how our offerings are kind of pretty special. So yes, I think something similar will be sent out along those lines.
Any other comments, questions, concerns? Let's just send our sessions.
Do the increases start in the summer or fall 2025?
I believe they will start fall.
Summer.
This summer. Summer. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
So my question is still unanswered. About the calculator.
Senator Seaver?
I think it could be helpful to have some numbers. I would suggest that be included in the university's publications of this. Again, from a PR standpoint, I do think it's important to make it clear that this is a regental decision. This is not something that we, as a Student Association Senate, had a say or a vote in. We can still have opinions on it, we can still share the information, but just to make that distinction clear, I think is important.
All right, Senator Smith?
I agree with Senator Seekman. Maybe having a standard like 13 credit hours of the baseline comparison in the university's publication of these things would be helpful. But if we did it ourselves, I believe it would cause some concerns from students that we are making these decisions and we are not.
Secretary Garcia.
Point of clarification on that comment. This is more of a question for Joe and Corey. Do you know what the average credit load of students in this university is off the top of your head?
I have a hunch, but I would say between 15 and 16. I don't have data to say.
The average credit load I usually use for any calculations and things like that is like probably 15.
Well, just more official reasons. I'm not sure. I don't think we should include it yet.
Senator Laura.
Just do the range. Because if you do a calculator, first of all, you got to proof it. You got to make sure it all works right. Then you got to send it out. It's just gonna be too much work. Why don't we just do the range? Because I mean, it's gonna change for everyone. It's subject to change. Create less work for yourself in the sense of like making yourself feel like you have to do all that. And because students, ultimately, it is your financial, it's your financial risk. You took that going to school, and I understand it's increasing, but it's also a thing like, making a calculator for everything is going to be pretty difficult. Why don't you just put it in the range and say, this is roughly what you're looking at, and then as your bill comes in, obviously you're going to see the damage like you do every semester.
Thank you. I needed someone to say that.
Any other comments, questions, concerns for this topic? Seeing none, any other points of open discussion? Seeing none, moving on to vote. Senator Smith.
I do have a quick one. It might not be one that can be answered right now, but I received a message from a Rapid City Journal reporter who has been in contact with me for other Senate-related things, and he mentioned that according to a tip that he got that was unsubstantiated, that there was an email sent out to international students claiming that they had to be careful about what they were posting on social media because it could result in them getting their visas redacted, and I was simply confused and pointed him towards Dean Joe and Ivanhoe International Center Director Beth Riley, but I wanted some clarification on that and wondering what that was about.
Would our international senator or other international students like the Senator Hernandez?
I don't have a comment on this. Dr. Joe can.
Yeah, I sure can. So lots of larger institutions that have many more students than we do, they're facing a lot of scrutiny right now that's published in all sorts of listservs, some of their student newspapers, so you can find this stuff pretty easy. Where, unfortunately, yes, a lot of their international students that are here legally, of course, right, they have visas that are approved. Same with faculty and staff, maybe here with work visas that are legal. They're facing heightened scrutiny. And so the guidance from immigration lawyers, from human resources folks, and professional organizations that work in the space have been giving all sorts of guidance. So some of that of like, yes, be cautious with what you put on social media so that we're not having different agencies look even deeper when they might not normally. That's wise right now. It's unfortunate, but it's wise. But I don't know why he reached out to you, I'm sorry. That's probably uncomfortable.
To clarify, I was also reached out to a little bit.
Well, I think he just had us as context in the student body.
And maybe, you know, we have a student senate page and maybe some public relations president.
I'm sorry. Like I mentioned, he reached out to me before, so it wasn't that as much as I was just surprised and alarmed.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard anything about it. So.
You know, if I can just expand on a little bit on that idea with social media. So I had a conversation with an American student today. He was asking, hey, sometimes I like to go target practice, go shooting, and I'll bring friends. And what if I have international friends doing that? And we talked about, okay, if you do that, maybe it's not a good idea to take pictures of an international student holding a gun. Maybe we didn't have to worry about this 4 months ago. But now schools are facing scrutiny for that. And if somebody sees that, then they start digging. I wouldn't want anything to happen where a student visa or an international employee's visa gets revoked for something that they were just having fun with friends.
Senator Bowser.
Senator Shapen was at recorder Matt Weir. Yeah. Another secondary point to make is that he's reached out to me on a week and a half ago on Senate Bill 100 and wanted to get student opinions. It seems how Martin did a 45-minute interview, just, you know, opinions on campus. With that, he's looking at doing secondary interview he would like to do tomorrow with other student senate people or other people in general that are interested. There's no space, there's no spot planned yet, there's no time planned yet. I reached out with Dr. Candy and marketing to alert them about it. I guess if any of you all are interested in sharing your personal opinions on the matter, this gentleman reach out to me.
Okay. Well, also add that he did interview. We did have a conversation too about similar conversation about HB 1193, and I can't remember if SB 100 was included in there or not. But I know we talked about HB 1193 a couple months back too. That was another so. Senator Sigmund.
Thanks for sharing that. Great idea. Senators, please do share your thoughts and your constituents' thoughts. If you are going to use this blanket statement, as this is seeming to be a thing that's going to be happening, if you're going to make a comment, please be sure to say that you're making it on behalf of yourself, not on behalf of the institution or Senate. Just blanket statement, so we're all on the same page.
Senator Gill.
Nope.
Thank you.
I did.
Okay. Senator Wright.
You want something to Joe?
Okay.
I know with this reporter, so if you're interested in, hey, I'd like to hear my comments for Senate Bill 100, you could ask him to not include your publisher name, and he's open to that for this story. So if you're like, hey, I want to give my thoughts, but I don't want everyone to know if my name's not, you can ask him to remove that.
Senator Wright.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is a thing with the international students. I've seen some stuff on social media. I have an interesting Instagram feed, so I've seen videos of people like getting reprimanded and stuff like that. So it is a serious issue. I didn't know it was a concern that School of Mines had, so that's good to know.
Any other comments on this point of open discussion? Seeing none, any additional points of open discussion? Seeing none, moving on to our Chief Financial Officer report.
Hello everybody, I hope everyone is well today. So I have 3 points of discussion. Self-applications, award statements have been sent out, and self-allocations are final. Any organizations that determine that funding was unforeseen or extenuating may request supplemental in the next administration. That's always available, but I just wanted to point that out there. GAPAC, Dean Joel will keep me posted on GAPAC, updates to come next week for both the current and future CFO. And then my last point is university budget, meeting with faculty tomorrow, last meeting as CFO. And an additional point that I just thought of right now is that Finance Committee will be meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. and it will be my last Finance Committee meeting as CFO. Last Finance Committee actually, as Dean said. This is my last time. Any questions?
Concerns? Seeing none. Move on to our Vice President report.
So President Archer and I had a great conversation with President Tandy today. We talked about a variety of things. Foremost, obviously, being the tuition increases. We also discussed kind of the ongoing issues in the mechanical engineering department, and he suggested kind of doing a little town hall, if you will, possibly. So we will try to coordinate that potentially in the next couple of weeks to see if we can help better understand students' concerns, and see if there are some kind of overarching trends that we want to address. That's it.
All right. Any comments, questions, concerns for Vice President Lee? Seeing none, we'll move on to my report. Keep it short and sweet today. One of the things I had to report is off that conversation with Dr. Tandy. Additionally, we also wanted to, this is more of my responsibility to kind of look at the same issues with the electrical engineering department. So similar actions will be taken there as with the mechanical engineering department. Yeah, that was something that President Tandy expressed personally too. So I'm glad that we're taking some steps on this. Additionally, with department head meetings, I've just found that since like came back from spring break, I've been overloaded with other obligations of the Senate, and so I haven't been able to effectively get those scheduled as I would have liked to. So I'm going to be working with the next administration, working with people to go to those meetings, to kind of make comments, questions, concerns at those meetings, and whatnot, and hopefully scheduling them so at least we get a decent amount of them done before end of semester. But other than that, that's everything I have. So I report.
Secretary Garcia. Adding on with issues with the ECS department, just make sure anyone who knows anyone that's part of the ECS department coming up, especially if they are a senior or going into senior year, the member of staff who is in charge of senior design, Ryan Butterfield, is leaving the university. So let them know that there's probably going to be some issues with senior design this next year.
Any other comments, questions, concerns on my report? Seeing none, we'll move on to international report. Veteran report.
It's taken all semester, but the veterans have finally been ground up enough. There's no actionable complaints. God bless America. On an individual note for Dean Joe, I got that meeting tomorrow morning, so I'll let you know what comes of it.
Do you want me there? He sent me an invite.
Dealer's choice.
All right. Comments, questions? All right. Comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, moving on to our graduate report. No report. Non-traditional center report.
No report.
No report. Moving on to the report, starting with Constitution.
Hello. We're still working with Gunsmithing Club. Thank you for hearing by Captain Staff. Still cooking along. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday night.
All right. Comments, questions, concerns? Constitution Committee. Seeing none, moving on to our public relations report.
Nothing crazy. We are going to be, after today's election, which I encourage you all to post the flyer if you can and encourage people to vote. We'll be working on sharing the food service survey as it's wrapping up its final weeks. And I think that's it.
All right. Any comments, questions, concerns for public relations committee? Seeing none, we'll move on to our government relations report.
I have the report from Senator Leonard. As I mentioned, the election is today. The catering for a transition meeting on April 15th or during this, please feel free to do so. Let us know.
Any questions, comments, concerns for the Government Relations Committee? Senator Wright?
What's the food being served?
When?
What is the food being served?
It's going to be Dakota Butcher.
So similar, I believe, to the meeting we had with Regent Partridge and
Yes.
President Kennedy and Mayor Salton.
Yes.
I guess I'll follow. When is the food being served?
During the meeting, I just imagine. During, like, yes, it'll be a banquet during the meeting, usually, that's how it goes. Possibly even in between meetings.
It's usually in between meetings.
Yeah, it's like between meetings.
About how many people form those, so.
Okay.
Figure that out.
Okay. So we can figure that out, probably. I forgot. Probably. Oh, right. Anyways, any other additional comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, moving on to our student affairs report.
Alright, so I actually have a little bit of a report for you guys. So, it was a while ago, but that issue with the senior application being sent out way too late, or the notification sent it out from the registrar being sent out way too late. I went and talked to the registrar, and basically, she is one of many different ways that people should know when that's due. So she was representing, she basically was like, oh, well, I'll just be the last person, like, hey, if you haven't done it today, make sure you get it done. But I talked to her and she's like, yeah, I'm okay with sending another email out a week or so beforehand. So that shouldn't be an issue anymore in the future. You should know. Okay, well, that's all that. You have a question?
Yes, so, I guess from a senior's perspective, the reason why I brought that up was just because, even one of my close, very involved friends, I brought him literally the night before it was due, and he hadn't done it, and if he didn't know about it, I was like, that's a good indicator of this probably not getting out there.
Yeah, and that's what I talked to her about. She was like, well, there's a bunch of different ways. I think your advisors are supposed to be telling you as well, so maybe that's something to be looking at. But she was pretty okay with sending out another one. She was like, well, if that's an issue, then we'll just send it out to her. I guess that's something she used to do, but she saw zero difference between how many people actually took in their application when she did that versus just touching it. She's okay with doing that. Perfect. And then, since apparently we kind of wrapped up a bunch of our projects, we're going to the end of the semester here. So the student discount program, we're finishing up calling those people, making sure that's all good, getting stickers out. And then we were planning on sending an email out to the seniors, just discussing migrating all of their stuff that's moved to their email. I'll be talking with probably ITS about that, about more specifics. They looked at the Q2 query, but that's something I'm planning on sending out, just making sure that they don't lose links that they need or documents or anything like that. So if you're a senior, expect that in the next couple weeks, in the next week or so. And then we were planning on putting out a survey about the Navigate app. I haven't really talked to you about it for you, so I'm not sure about you guys' opinions on it, but I personally have never used it much, and most of the people I've talked to have never used it that much. So I'm just curious, do you know how much we pay anything for that? Okay. Okay, yeah, so we were planning on probably putting out a survey, just gauging usage and appreciation of the Navigate app.
If you needed, the administrator of that is Lisa Carlson. Her office is in the library.
And that's actually
do you have any class reports to you by chance?
Let's see. For this meeting?
I just forwarded you the freshman one, sorry.
Let me take a peek real quick.
Or if you're specified on the list, please feel free to do that. Feel free to get that report as well. If you so desire.
Okay, well, I'll just give which report?
Let's do the freshman
report.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a facilities issue. So Survey mailboxes can be opened by anyone by listening to tumblers. Is there plans for replacement or gratification?
I feel like that's a housing. I feel like that's like a, that seems like a residence life issue. There we go. It seems like a residence life issue. That'd be a good thing to do for residence life.
Yeah. Another facilities thing was Peterson Hall always smells disgusting. We made mandatory showers for freshmen.
Unfortunately, I have a teammate who's very similar on a different extracurricular or extracurricular in a different class. So I wish we could, but no.
And then as far as classwork goes, if teachers don't curve tests, how do people help you? Question mark.
I mean, I feel like I can answer this one. I feel like that's common knowledge that it's pretty up to the discretion of a professor. So if the professor doesn't curve a test, it's kind of, it is what it is.
Alrighty, and then continuing on, athletes tell me they hate their common hour test. Is there a way that a workout is enough reason to have them be able to take the exam during normal class time?
So I think if the workout conflicts with the common hour, that the workout conflicts with the common hour, that athlete can personally go and say, hey, this is a time conflict for me. Can I take it to the testing center? So they have to do it during the testing center, but I don't think for the whole class they could get it moved back to the class schedule if it's already a common hour, unfortunately.
And then as far as food complaints go, it seems Catholics would like to see more fish options on Fridays. I don't know if that's something about.
We just got a new interim planning director, so that would be a good thing to talk to them about seeing these things.
And then expired bread and milk being put out after the spring break, I guess that was an issue. Be aware.
Interesting. Yeah, it's about that time of year.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
And that's all the reports I have.
That's all the reports you got?
Yeah.
Just the freshman report?
Director, what I would say with regards to that mailbox, just wonder if we can get more information or reach out the mailbox thing.
Mailbox?
It's not, I mean, I don't know, but anytime we're helping students, like, move in, it's not been an issue. If it is, we need to look at that and connect with it, but I think we need more information about you guys.
I'll go Senator Sessions and Senator Pink.
Yeah, I mean, any mailbox, chances are I can open it just by listening to the tumblers.
Senator Pink?
Do we need to remind our freshmen that tampering with somebody else's mail is just a felony?
Senator Sessions?
It was my own mail.
Senator Richards?
The mailboxes are literally a front bag you can walk around. I don't think the lock is the weak link in the system there.
That's true. Director?
I would say yes, but the general student is not allowed in the back room where they can't, so they can't get back to when it goes. From a future perspective, and I don't know what we're doing, I mean, we are talking about, obviously we receive more packages than students receive general mail, right? So there is talk in the future, do we have regular mailboxes in there, or do we do something different for general mail? So that discussion is happening, but if there's a concern right now that people break in, yes, we need to obviously look at what residents like to come along.
Is any of that getting changed due to the Survey expansion project?
Director?
No, not necessarily. I think we're looking at more because I'm guilty of this too. You all, those living on campus, you order so many things, right? From a package perspective that we probably need more room for packages, to store packages. And so that's where that discussion started. Like, do we limit the space for regular mail, do something different so that we've got more package availability?
All right,
So Senator Sessions, if you are eager to put a criminal record on some 19-year-old, 18-year-old, and have them expelled from this university, there is a well-placed camera in the mailroom.
All right, any other comments, questions, concerns of this report? Seeing none, any ad hoc
just at a meeting today. So Steve is the new intern dining hall director. For the Minor Shack and 24-hour store, we're planning on trying to add more and meat items to both of them with plans for more fruits and vegetables. The boba tea machine should be working soon. A new hot food vending machine is going to replace the one outside the dining hall. In the dining hall, they're trying to add more options to the youth cook station. And for the everyday app and Einstein's, there's a lot of issues with it today apparently. If you're having a lot of issues or problems, make sure your app is updated. If it still doesn't fix it, uninstall and reinstall it. For the future, they're looking to have a larger and a more frequent dining hall committee for more members of the school who are interested. And then there's an orange chicken on Friday.
All right, any comments, questions, concerns for Senator Masters? Seeing none, moving on to upcoming Senate business, transition. Oh, other ad hoc, sorry, before that. Vice President Lee.
So this would be for the housing ad hoc. I guess this would also be for Senator Gates. What are your thoughts on doing a housing / roommate end of semester or end of year survey? Get a gauge whether roommate agreements went well, RA agreements went well.
We could do that.
Okay, if you want to work with student affairs on that, brainstorm ideas, I think.
Okay.
Now's about time when people kind of realize what went well and what didn't go well, so.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea to work with student affairs on. They need to bring that up to the housing committee too. So, yeah. Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Additional ad hoc committees? Seeing none, any upcoming Senate business? The only one I have is transition meeting and banquet is next week, as discussed. So, any other additional upcoming Senate business? Seeing none, move on to announcements. Any announcements? Secretary Garcia.
Your design fair is next Tuesday. Go support your seniors.
I'm presenting a robot.
I am presenting a very poorly thought out burger thing.
Nice. Any additional announcements? Motions. Senator Bostad. Motion moved by Senator Bostad, seconded by Senator Severson. All those in favor of adjournment say aye. Aye. Same sign.